All right, guys, we're going to go through our expressions quiz review. So first is properties. We're matching the properties. So this first one, I'm just always looking to see from one side of the equal sign to the other side what's changing. So I have 9 plus, and then in parentheses 27 plus 13. On the other side, 9 plus, in parentheses 13 plus 27. So I can see the parentheses didn't change, but what's inside of the parentheses changed. They switched order, right? 27, 13, and then 13, 27. So anytime it's changing order, remember that is your commutative property, change order, commutative. So this was an addition problem, so this is commutative property of addition, C. Next one, 15x times 1 equals 15x. I started off as a 15x, I ended as a 15x. I kept my identity the same by multiplying, so identity property of multiplication, F. Next, 77 times 25 equals 25 times 77. Again, the order changed. This time we're multiplying, so this is commutative property, changing the order, CO, commutative, which is D. All right, 325m times 0 equals 0. When I multiply by 0, I get 0. This is your 0 property of multiplication, H. Remember, when you multiply by 0, you get a 0. Next one, in parentheses, D plus E plus 8. And on the other side, D plus, in parentheses, E plus 8. So this time the order stayed the same, DE8, DE8. The only thing that changed is what was inside the parentheses. This is your love triangle, right, where who they're associated with, that's what's changing. So associative property of addition, A. 93 plus 0 equals 93. Again, I kept my identity. 93 is still a 93, this time by adding. So identity property of addition, E. That is not 0 property. I know you see a 0 there, but we're adding a 0, not multiplying. Next one, 2 times, parentheses, 5 times 3. On the other side, the 2 times 5 are in parentheses, and then times 3 on the outside. Again, the order stayed the same, 253, 253. The only thing that changed is what's inside the parentheses. That's who they're associated with, so associative property of multiplication, B. And finally, our last one. This is our distributive property, because look, 9 times 5, 9 times 4, and it was subtraction between, so subtraction between, this is G, distributive. All right, now to simplify our expressions. So we are going to start by training it up. Choo-choo. So box your terms. And I'm going to use my commutative property to rearrange these and find my families. Remember, we like to go alphabetical, and if you have the same letter, then we use our biggest exponent down to our smallest. So I'm going to start with my 4t squared minus my 9t squared. There's my t squared family. Okay, whoopsies. And then I have a minus 5t. There's my t family. And then finally my constants, so plus 12 and plus negative 4. There's my constant family. Now I'm going to combine these like terms. So for my t squareds, I have 4 minus 9. This is like a keep, change situation. So it's really a negative plus a positive. Different sign, subtract. So 9 minus 4, which gives me 5. Keep the sign of the larger one, which was the 9. So negative 5t squared. This 5t just stays, so it's minus 5t. And then 12 plus negative 4, again, different sign, subtract, so really 12 minus 4, which gives us a positive 8. And that is our answer. We can't simplify that anymore. Okay, so before we can train this up, we have parentheses, so we're going to have to hand out the tickets. We had to distribute first. I'm going to distribute here, 4/5 times 2k, so 4/5 times 2 over 1. 4 times 2 is 8. 5 times 1 is 5, and I'm just going to simplify that to 1 3/5. So I have 1 3/5 k. Then this 4/5 times negative 7, so 4/5 times 7 over 1. 7 times 4 is 28 over 5. I do need to simplify that, so 5 comes out of 28 5 times, with 3 left over, so 5 3/5. It was a positive times a -7. Remember, I'm treating this like a -7, like I'm boxing that almost. So this is a negative, or subtract, 5 3/5. And then I'm going to bring down this plus 5k. Now that I did that, now that I handed out the tickets, I can train it up, hand out the tickets, and then get on the train. So now I can rearrange this so I can combine my like terms. So find my families. I've got 1 3/5 k plus 5k. There's my k family. And then my minus 5 3/5, my constant family. So 1 3/5 plus 5, 1 plus 5 is 6 3/5 k minus 5 3/5. And that is our final answer for that one. All right, I don't see any parentheses, so we're just going to start by training it up. And then I am going to find my families. So I have, let's see, y squared is what I'm going to do first. So I'm going to do minus or negative 3.98y squared. And then minus 8.5y squared. Okay, there's my y squared family. Then I've got some y's. I've got 5.2y plus 11.06y minus 0.99y. All three of those go in the y family. Now I can go ahead and do that work. So over here for the y squareds, I have a negative, and then it's subtraction. So keep, change, change. It's really negative plus negative. So same signs, add and keep. 3.98 plus 8.5. Remember to line up those decimals. I get 8, 14, carry my 1, 11 plus 1, so 12. Don't forget to bring that decimal straight down. They were negative, so it stays negative. So negative 12.48 y squared. Keep that last name. And then here for the next part, I'm going to do this like a piece at a time. So I'm going to add these two first because they're both positive. So I have, let's see, 11.06 plus 5.20. Again, line up your decimals. And I get 16.26. And then I can take that, 16.26 minus 0.99. So 0.99, I'm going to subtract. And I do have to borrow, let's see, 7, borrow again. That's a 5. To bring down my decimal, I have 15.27, positive 15.27, keep the last name y. And there is my answer for that one. Okay, we're going to start off by distributing. So this negative v times negative v. So remember, multiply your coefficients. My coefficient is an invisible 1, so it's a negative 1 times negative 1, which is positive 1. And then v times v is v squared. So I have positive v squared. And then this negative 1v times positive 10, negative 1 times positive 10 is negative 10, and then v. And that is my answer. All right, again, I need to hand out the tickets before I can get on the train. So 5 6 times, remember, invisible 1, so 5 6 times 1 is 5 6. Okay, don't forget that last name. 5 6 times 2, do that over here, 5 6 times 2 over 1. I would cross simplify right here, so divide that 2 out. Now I get 5 times 1 and 3 times 1, which is 1 2/3. So down here I have positive times negative, so minus or negative 1 2/3. Then bring down that plus 4k. Now that there's no parentheses, I can train it up and combine my like terms. So I see a k family, I have 4k plus 5/6 k. There's my k family, check, check. And then minus 1 2/3. There's my constant family. So 4 plus 5/6 is 4 5/6. Keep that last name k. minus 1 2/3 because he was solo. And that is our answer. All right, same idea. I got to hand out those tickets. So 4c times 3c. 4 times 3 is 12. C times c is c squared. 4c times positive 3. 4 times 3 again is 12. C. Bring down that plus 3c squared. Now that there's no parentheses, I can train it up and combine my like terms. So I have 12c squared plus 3c squared. There's my c squared family. And then plus 12c. There's my c family. 12 plus 3 is 15c squared plus 12c. And there's that. Okay, let's talk about our terms and all of our different parts of an expression. So I still just like to box it up so I can kind of break it apart and see what's happening. So my terms are everything I just put in a box, right? It's broken up by addition or subtraction sign. So I have 9x squared, comma, negative 8x, comma, 15, comma, negative 10x squared, comma, negative 4. Don't forget those negative signs. Those are important. My coefficients, remember, are your numbers that are multiplied by the variables. Just the number part of it, though. So for this 9x squared, it's the 9. For negative 8x, it's the negative 8. For negative 10x squared, it's negative 10. Also, there's not a good example in this one, but if there was just an x, remember it's got that invisible 1 as your coefficient. So don't forget your invisible 1s as well. My constants, remember those are my numbers that are constantly alone. They don't have a variable, so just your plain old 15 and your plain old negative 4. Variables, remember, are the letters. So I have an x. It's just the x. It's not x squared because the squared is called an exponent. The x part is called the variable. And that's it. I don't even have to list it. I see one 3 times, but it's the only letter in there, so I only have to list it once. And then finally our like terms, which I have, let's see, I have a 9x squared and a negative 10x squared. There's a set of like terms. And then also constants. Remember, constants are like terms. So 15 and negative 4. So I have 2 sets of like terms there. Okay, find the area of the rectangle as a product and as a sum. So when they say as a product, what I mean is write it as distributive. Okay, so think about what is being distributed here. The 6 is being distributed to the m. The 6 is being distributed to the 5. So the 6 is what's on the outside. That's the thing in common all the way through the shape, right? This is all in common. And then these two, m plus 5, that's what's on the inside. Then as a sum, that's when I go ahead and multiply it. So 6 times m is 6m plus 6 times 5 is 30. And finally, they asked us to find the perimeter. Remember, for perimeter, you could add this all the way around, or since it's a square, I know that all 4 sides are the same, so I could set this up as 4 times the side. So 4 times 4x plus 1, and then we would distribute. So 4 times 4 is 16x plus 4 times 1 is 4, and that is our answer. That's it.